What's happening, Mad Squad? It's Joe, aka Mad Joe FC. So, before I get into this, let me just say this. Let me clarify this. Get this out of the way. I have not watched any episodes, any seasons of the CW Flash. Okay? But I have seen the costume, and I have seen enough of just glancing at the show to know a bit of the acting, to know the guy's name is Grant Dustin or Justin. It's Grant something, I think it's Dustin, and to see his costume. Okay? And second, this is not factual that the DCEU Flash is the best, okay? This is my opinion. Not factual. Okay? Alright. So, why do I think Ezra Miller, the DCEU Flash, is the best? Okay? For a few reasons. This video, I don't know if it'll end up being short or kind of lengthy. It just depends on how much I have to say about it. But there are some things I definitely want to point out. First, the costume. Okay? You have to talk about the costume. So, this is a character based on a comic book, okay? And what a comic book movie is, or comic book show, is a movie or a show based on a comic book. Based. So you take the core elements, you take the name of the character, you take the character itself, and you take whatever suit it is that they wear and you put it on the big screen. But most of these comic book shows and movies, they're supposed to take place in the real world, in our world. So what you have to ask yourself is, what you see in the comic book, how do you adapt that into to make it look like it could exist in the real world, our world? And you're like, Joe, it's a comic book movie. It doesn't matter how it's adapted. Yes, it does, because like I just said, it's being adapted to the real world. It has to make sense. It's a comic book based movie, not a comic book movie with the pages from the comics ripped and plastered on the big screen, okay? It's based. Okay? So you take those core elements and you have to adapt them in the real world. To where it's like, yeah, I could see that happening in the real world, you know? So with Flash's costume, okay, Flash, fastest man alive, right? So his suit in the comics, he can have a just spandex suit, or I don't know if it's spandex. It might be spandex. I don't know, but point is, it's just a regular suit that he just throws on. And that's okay, because it's not in the real world, our world. It's a comic book, okay? So anything can happen. It's fiction. But when it's supposed to take place in our world, you have to make that fiction become reality in a way. And so, in reality, if Flash is the fastest man alive and he's just wearing a spandex outfit, it's going to burn. It's going to burn off of his body, because that's how fast he's going. All that heat is going to burn it off his body, right? So you have to make the outfit make sense. So with the CW Flash, okay, and before you say anything, oh Joe, it's a Netflix. I mean, it's a TV budget. They can't do everything they can in the movies. I get that, which is why some things just aren't meant to be put on TV. It's meant to be for the movies. At least my opinion. Okay, so I get that it's a show. I get that, but in reality, that leather suit that he wears in the CW show, if he's the fastest man alive, even though the CW Flash isn't the fastest incarnation of the Flash we've had in live action. The fastest live action adaptation of the Flash we have is Ezra Miller. Whether you want to believe it or not, it is. Okay? And I'll explain why when we get more into this. But yeah, the suit that he wears, the CW Flash, is just a leather suit. What I'm thinking is, in reality, if he's the fastest man alive, it would burn straight off of his body. Or unless the CW Flash is kind of like the toned down version of the Flash where he doesn't go that fast. But that's just what I'm thinking. But the reason I like the suit better for the DCEU is because this Flash is the fastest man alive, okay? This is the fastest incarnation of the Flash we have had. And so, with someone that fast, you have to make the suit believable. And so, the DCEU Flash, his suit, is made out of NASA space equipment, NASA space parts that he stole. Okay? And it makes complete sense because NASA spaceships go up into space. They come down from space. You got all that heat and fire and burning stuff, and everything stays intact. Like the paint stays mostly intact. The materials, the metal materials that the spaceship is made out of, it can take all that pressure and all that heat and make it into space and make it back from space. So it makes sense that he has NASA space parts and NASA space equipment as part of his outfit, because when he runs, it's that same type pressure of a spaceship going into space. And so, you know, it keeps his suit together, and it keeps his suit from, like, you know, just obliterating. And that's also why the wires are there. A lot of you hate the wires. There's a reason the wires are there. It's to keep the space parts and the suit itself together. Well, actually, two reasons the wires are there. One of the reasons is to keep the space parts there and to keep the suit intact. The second reason, I believe, it at least looks like this, is to conduct the electricity that's circulating around him. Because this Flash, when he runs, he has all this electricity circulating around his body, and you can see the electricity bouncing off the wires and stuff, as if the wires is keeping the electricity to him instead of just going haywire. You know, the wires keeps the electricity circulating around him instead of going ballistic, right? So those are the two reasons I believe that the wires are on the suit. And then, like I said, the space parts are there to keep the suit together and to be able to resist the intense pressure and heat that comes from this version of the Flash when he runs. Okay? Now, I'm not no expert on Flash. I don't know everything about Flash, so I'm not trying to sound like that. I'm just saying what I have seen from the trailers, what I've seen from the CW show, and what I know about the Flash. Okay? I'm not trying to sound like some expert. I should actually have my friend AJ here. He is literally an expert on Flash. It's his favorite superhero. He knows everything about the Flash. He knows all of the Flashes. He should really be in this video right now. AJ, if you're watching this, and I hope you are, then I know you like the CW, but I hope you're listening to this, okay? So, I mentioned the space parts, the wires. This is why I've explained how I like that the DCEU adapts the suit into reality, into our world, and make it believable. Now I want to explain why I think he's the fastest Flash. A couple reasons. And these are things that happen just before he runs, based on what we've seen from the trailers, okay? Everything about the DCEU Flash, I'm basing it off of the security camera footage that we saw in the LexCorp files in Batman v Superman, from what we saw when he took down Captain Boomerang in his 5 seconds in Suicide Squad, and all of the Justice League sneak peeks and trailers, okay? before he runs, steam rises. Before he runs, steam rises from his body. Okay? Before he runs, you see sparks like you see sparks coming from him. You see when he was like stanced on the ground one point, he was like that. I believe he was in like Metropolis maybe. He was like that. He was about to run. When he was like this, sparks were flying from his fingers. He hadn't even moved yet. He hadn't even moved yet. He has sparks flying from him before he runs. Okay? Electricity, just small bits of electricity you see them sparking on his body. That's all before he even runs. That's all before he moves. He's not even moving yet, which that lets you know he's about to move. Because all that happens before he even runs. That's crazy. That is crazy. And then when he runs, you see kind of an aura that he leaves behind. It's like an air form of his body where he was standing, if that makes any kind of sense. You know? Like, all that happens before he runs. In the latest sneak peek, he bended glass. When he poked that glass, he didn't just break it. If you pause it, because I do in-depth reviews and I watch these trailers over and over and over. I always do that. I like to catch everything I missed. When he poked the glass, before it broke, it bended. He bended glass just by poking it because he was going that fast. All he did was poke it, and before it broke, it bended. It literally bended. Pause it. Pause it on that part. It bended. Okay? So, and I really don't know too much about this, so if I'm wrong about any of this, let me know. But I believe at one point in the trailer, he was also in the Speed Force. There was one part, he was running, it kind of showed him slowly running, and then he went fast, and you could see like this blue streak. And it wasn't something he left behind, it was something he was inside. So was that the Speed Force? And I've also heard that blue lightning means you've mastered the Speed Force. Like I said, don't say, oh, you're incorrect and stuff. I don't know everything about this. Okay? I'm just saying what I do know and what I've heard. And I've heard that when you have blue lightning, that means you've mastered the Speed Force. And that looks like he was in the Speed Force. So let me know, okay? But, yeah, okay? And the CW Flash, again, not just the costume, but the actor himself. Okay? Like I said, I haven't watched it, but I've just seen enough, glances, maybe commercial for the newest episode or something, just kind of to get an idea of how he acts. And I already like Ezra Miller, okay? Already my favorite. You might be like, he has black hair. Yeah. Well, like I said, these are comic book based shows and movies based. You take elements. You don't rip the page and plaster on the screen. So you take the name Barry Allen, but he doesn't have to have the blonde hair. Just like Flash for Spider-Man Homecoming. You take the name Flash Thompson, he doesn't have to look exactly like the character in the comic. Okay? That's what I mean when I say comic book based movies. You take elements. Not necessarily even core elements if you don't have to. If you can adapt on the big screen in a different way. Okay? So, I already like Ezra Miller the best. He's already my favorite. He's already proved to me that he's the best Flash just from everything I've seen. Okay? The LexCorp files, his bit in Suicide Squad and all the Justice League trailers, okay? He's funny, and that's something I feel the Flash needs to be. He's like a comedic relief character. He's funny. I believe he's 24 in the DCEU. He's been the Flash for a while now. But he also knows, this is like, we saw the moment when he put his hand on the glass when he was talking to his dad. So, he's not just all about funny, even in serious moments. He knows when to be serious. So, like I said, everything I've seen from him, he's already my favorite Flash. And is there anything I'm forgetting? I think I've mentioned everything I wanted to, actually. I mentioned both their suits. I mentioned the wires. Characters themselves. Yeah, I think I've mentioned everything. But none of that was factual. I mean, all the stuff I said about, like, each of them, what they can do is factual because we've seen it from the shows and then the trailers. But my opinion is that Ezra Miller is the best, okay? I'm not saying that as in, yes, he is the best, it's factual. I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying it as in my opinion, he's the best. Based on what I have seen, okay? That's my reasons why I think the DCEU Ezra Miller Flash is the best and the fastest. So now I want to know your thoughts. I know a lot of you love the CW Flash, all the CW shows. Let me know what you like about it, and let me know which Flash you like better. If you enjoyed my video, let me know what you thought. Links to all my social media will be down below in the description box. There are 2 like buttons. Be sure to fingerprint the button with the thumb pointing up. Share this video to anyone you feel enjoy. And ding dong the subscribe button and notification bell to join the Mad Squad on our journey to 10,000 subscribers. My name's Joe, aka Mad Joe C. Hope y'all have a marvelous day. Mad out. Mad. Strong. Together.